We are finally beyond the launch of Metroid Prime 4, and now, for the first time since 2007, players can experience a brand new adventure through the eyes of Samus herself. While this is largely an iterative sequel that builds upon what the series has always done super well, there are still some quirks that you might wish to know about before popping on that visor. And no, I'm not talking about Miles and his annoying dialogue. And so, to help you avoid making mistakes in the early moments of Metroid, here are 11 essential Metroid Prime 4 tips that we wish we'd known before starting the game. But before I get cracking with the knowledge unpacking, it's worth pointing out that, while there won't be any story spoilers in here, I will be covering some late game upgrades and locations in this guide. So if you're the Samus me and like going into games as blind as possible, it might be best to avoid this list. P.S. Also, yes, this is the same list as IGN's list, but we all work for the same company, so I'm not doing the stealing. Shh. Anyone who has played a Metroid Prime before probably knows how important it is to scan every enemy, pick up, power up, and general object in the environment, both for the sake of fully understanding the game's lore and for 100% completion. However, it is especially important to get these scans in the opening segment of the game on the planet Tanamar, because many of the things you see on this planet will not appear at all in the rest of the game. Not everything counts towards your scan percentage, but NPCs, enemies, and bosses do. So make sure to scan a Galactic Federation trooper, a live space pirate, and the boss of the area, or you'll miss your opportunity for 100% scan completion on that save. Which would be a super annoying thing to find out when you've just completed the game. Most people will probably default to using the B button to jump, since it's the most natural mapping. However, in frantic moments of combat, you'll find it kind of difficult to jump and aim at the same time, since your thumb will need to leave the right stick in order to press the B button. Fortunately, the developers have mapped an alternate jump button on L, allowing you to do some bumper jumping, which will dramatically help you in certain boss fights that demand both accuracy and evasion in equal measure. Energy tanks are items that players can collect to increase Samus's maximum energy, and you can get 2 of these pretty much right away without even having to really search for them. After that though, energy tanks become a rare commodity, and most are locked behind late game upgrades and boss fights. However, there are 2 more that you can get pretty early on, and will be a significant boon in the early game. For the first one, all you need is your psychic glove and the viola suit that lets you drive your motorcycle in the desert. Head for this location southeast of the Chrono Tower to reach the Ring of Thunder Shrine. Just behind the shrine is a spot you can grab with your psychic glove, allowing you to pull down a door, revealing an energy tank hiding inside. The second one can be found at the Ladder of Thought Shrine on the western edge of the map, just north of the entrance to Fury Green. After solving the puzzle by lifting the pillars one after the other, hop to the platform with the door and check to your right to find a hole that you can fit through while in ball form. To reach it, you'll need to do a classic Metroid double bomb jump. You do this by placing a bomb, waiting until it's just about to explode before dropping another bomb on top of it. Then, while you're in the air, place your last bomb at the peak height of your bomb jump. If you did it correctly, you'll hit the third bomb exactly as it explodes, giving you enough height to enter the hole, which will take you right to the energy tank. As you're driving around the desert, you'll notice a whole load of green crystals that you can plow through. It might not be clear why you should be doing this at the moment, but you will save yourself a big headache in the endgame if you're vigilant about always collecting them whenever you see them early on. Now, I'm not saying go out of your way combing the entire desert looking for them, just if you see them while you're moving to your next objective or while you're exploring for upgrades, it is worth it to veer off course slightly and plow through a patch of crystals. Or if you missed a bunch from a large cluster, you should probably turn around and make sure you get all of them. Just trust me on this one. Okay, I know I told you not to go out of your way for those green crystals, but you actually should aim to get the first reward for finding enough of them, and you do this by filling up to the first line over on the mission tab where it tracks your green crystal progress. Once you do that, head back to home base, dump them at the Altar of Legacy, and you'll get an upgrade to your arm cannon that increases its base damage. Keep an eye out while you're exploring the desert for other goodies as well. Don't worry about the mech part points of interest on the map, as they're part of a late game mission, but do be on the lookout for glowing spots on the ground where you can use your grapple to unearth power-ups, ramps that lead to missile expansions suspended in the air, and especially shrines, as these will power up your elemental shots with special charged shots. If you come across these shrines early on, there's always a good chance you won't have the upgrade needed to solve their puzzles, but fortunately they are automatically marked on your map whenever you discover them, so you can always come back later once you have the required upgrade. As you're exploring each new area, you'll probably come across these downed scout bots that may not seem very important at first glance, but if you scan them, you'll see that they can actually be reactivated with an electric jolt. Make a mark on your map noting the locations of these bots, because once you get the electric shot and can reactivate them, they'll actually tell you where all the remaining collectibles are in that area. The electric shot is one of the very last core upgrades you'll get, so you won't be able to do this until fairly late in the game, which is why it's important to mark these early on. You know, so you don't forget where they are and then kick yourself later down the line. Speaking of marking your map, you should be doing this every time you come across a power-up you can't find a way to reach, a gap you can't cross, and so on. This is a new feature in Metroid Prime 4, and while you're not able to specifically mark locations on the 3D map, even just highlighting an area green so you know that you can revisit it when you have new upgrades is super valuable. You can even create a system where the different markers correspond to the different types of barriers that are blocking you, so that you know what to look for when you come back with more upgrades. Do not neglect your elemental shots. Ice enemies are typically weak to fire, mechanical enemies take more damage from your electric shot, and flying enemies will fall from the sky when they're frozen by your ice shot, taking damage and potentially even shattering when they hit the ground. Also note that freezing an enemy and then quickly switching to missiles is a great way to quickly bring down some of the more resilient enemies in the game. It can be frustrating to take down some of the enemies that roam the desert and harass you while you're driving around with your bike's standard lock-on weapon. It's both slow and it takes multiple shots to bring down anything but the birds. The real value of this weapon isn't taking out enemies on its own, it's actually knocking them out of the sky temporarily so that you can double tap boost and plow right through them, killing them in one blow. Save your boosts for opportunities to take out the enemies you swat out of the sky, and plow through these cacti to restore the boost so that you're always ready whenever you get ambushed. Lock-on is a very powerful tool in Metroid Prime 4, but sometimes free aim is the way to go. Definitely use lock-on to keep your sights on a fast-moving target, but in situations where you need to be precise, and where the lock-on moves your crosshairs away from the enemy weak points, you'll be better off just using free aim. This is especially true for bosses, where you'll frequently only be able to target the head of a boss, but are required to shoot other parts of its body in order to deal damage. And those were the 11 things that we wish we'd known before starting Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Hopefully, having these in your mind will save you a lot of time or effort in your first playthrough, or potentially both at the same time if you're lucky. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like and subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games. Goodbye.